Go.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, August 25th Holyoke Planning Board public hearings and public meeting. We have a quorum issue for items 1 through 3, and we expect that another one of our members will be arriving shortly, but we're going to start with item number 4 because that only needs 3 of us to hear. So, if I do, I have a motion to open the public hearing for item number 4, the zone change continued Irfan Rahil at 172 Sergeant Street, 060-06-001 BG to DR.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
It's gonna have to be you, Paul.
I don't know how I suddenly got muted. Okay. Yes, I second. I'm sorry. I thought I wasn't muted.
Roll call vote for Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Paul.
We didn't hear you, Paul.
Yes.
Thank you. So, do we have someone here to walk us through this one, or will staff be walking us through?
Good evening, Kevin Rothschild Shea, Architecture EL. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks. I have Ronald John here from my office as well. I can see him. I can't figure out gallery view, so I couldn't see everybody that was here. Our client Irfan might also be in attendance. I haven't scrolled all the way through. So as an update, we met some time ago. The neighbor had some comments and submitted some comments to the board. We've subsequently made an appearance with the city ordinance committee. That committee was also continued as they await the completion of our proceedings, I believe. In the interim, our client and the neighbor who had some concerns, we'll say, have met. We were there present for that meeting. If anything, just to help manage the conversation. The two gentlemen seem to be generally in agreement and seem to have a agreement in terms of how to access and share the site. But even more importantly, as a supporting documentation, our client commissioned a site survey. We submitted a handful of documents to Jeff Burkott's office later this afternoon. I'm happy to either share, or Ronald will help me share to complete our presentation, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I think that would be great. I think, do you guys have the ability to share?
The host has disabled sharing.
Who is it you or are you the one sharing?
Yes,
Kevin?
Kevin.
Okay.
Oh, hey Jeff, how are you?
Hello, Kevin. How are you today?
I'm good. Let me see. I
Should have the ability now.
Okay. I may need to have Ronald assist because I'm remote and desktoping through. It's not letting me share past the screen that I'm on. Oops, if I minimize that didn't help. I'm sorry.
So should we give?
Ronald's with me. Ronald, do you mind sharing the site survey? Apologize.
Okay.
There he is. I had all the tabs open and set up as well. We both did in duplicate just in case we had technology issues. Yeah, open up the bottom one, the stamp survey, not the analysis, the bottom one. We'll start there. Did it open, Ronald?
Yes, can you see?
No, we can only see your Explorer tab. You might have to
Oh,
unshare
really?
and share the tab.
Oh, stop share. My apologies. Share.
Some shares don't automatically roll over when screens change. I don't really understand the technology, but
Let's try this again.
there we go. Okay,
Okay.
um, so basically this is the base diagram, and then we have a couple illustrated diagrams that may help you. In the upper right-hand corner is our client's building in question, 172 Sargent Street. You can see it's shaded in kind of a medium gray color. In the lower left corner is Peter. Let me see. I don't want to pronounce his last name correctly. Dellert. That is his building in the lower left corner. And in the middle right, there's a smaller rectangle, and that is a communications building that supports some roof antenna that I think extend up above our building. So with this survey, we gathered the property lines of our client, Mr. Dellert's property, and a little bit beyond his property to the left of the page in order to understand exactly the shape of all the properties relative to the concerns that were shared in the last meeting. We also identified the area of an easement that is shared across the property so that the board could understand where the easement is. So if, Ronald, could you just trace the property line that separates 172, our client, from Mr. Dellert? So this outline that Ronald is showing in red, this is the extents of our site and our property. In the middle is a rectangular area, or a elongated square, if you will, that combines or shows the easement that Mr. Dellert extends to our client in order for our client to access across to the rear or lower right portion of the property. So Ronald's just highlighted in yellow where the limits of the easement that exist. Okay. If Ronald, if in blue, you could also just trace the outline of Mr. Dellert's property. Did you not do it? Sorry. So Mr. Dellert's property is this basically, essentially it's a flag lot. It has a very narrow street frontage with a large tab, mostly occupied by his building, with a little bit of paving in front of his building, which includes the easement that allows Irfan to access the lower corner of his property. So what we found is, in fact, there were some concerns about our clients parking on the neighbors or abutting property. The reality is there's the majority of the property is owned by our client, and our client, Mr. Dellert, actually uses and parks and accesses his site by traveling on our property. So we've got a diagram that I think shows this. Ronald, you want to look one of your site analyses images? So in this pictorial view, you can see the light pink area is Mr. Dellert's property in this image. You can see a gray travel lane in the approximate middle. That travel lane is largely captured or exists largely on our client's property. The parking that is not lined is generally oriented to the right of that travel lane. Okay. And then to the left of the travel lane, there is 6 more spaces perpendicular to the travel lane. Mr. Dellert has asked for 2 of those to be dedicated or restricted to his use only, and you can see those are in the crosshatched area, number 12 and 13. 8, 9, and 10 are general open parking areas. And you can see in this diagram, these parking spaces extend due left and beyond the limits of our site onto a neighboring site, which apparently is happening through some informal arrangement amongst Mr. Dellert and the neighboring property owner. So generally speaking, we think with the commissioning of this survey, we now understand legally the shape of the lot, where the easement is, and how the site is generally being used. And according to Mr. Dellert, in our last conversation, he was agreeable in terms of his removing his concerns in terms of the use of the site. Additionally, we did take a look at the parking bylaw, and if we were to compare commercial use on the first and second floor, I think it was a 1 per 300 allowance, 1 car per 300 square feet, which was determining or creating 15 spaces for the first floor and 15 for the second. And of course, that's applying the current bylaw to a pre-existing, very old and well-established parcel. If we change to the second floor, if in this zone change, and allow residential use, and if the plan informally is to proceed with 2 apartments, we've not done a design yet because we don't want to advance to a design phase until we get through the allowance of the zone change. But the expectation is we would put 2 apartments up there, and by the town zoning or city zoning, that's 2 spaces per apartment, which would be 4. So while we're pursuing the zone change, we are also reducing the parking load and impact, as I know that was kind of a conversation and a concern in our hearing a couple months ago at this point, I think. And Ronald, you want to open up the zone, or if there's any questions here, I'm happy to take some questions, or we can show you an overall zone map to kind of circle all the way back. So let's open up that zoning map that you color coded earlier today, Ronald. Is this the recolored one?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it's coming through. So basically, you can see the DR zone in this light tan shade, largely occupying the right-hand diagonal corner of the screen. The BG zone in the middle, kind of a blue-gray color. And Ronald has cross-hatched the 172 site with the intent of changing that to the DR, as that is the site that is kitty corner and adjacent to the DR zone. So that kind of, in short, recaps what we were asking for, or to circle back, the intent was to change the zone such that we could allow residential use on the second floor, which, if at minimum, by bylaw, should reduce the load on parking, and doesn't further exacerbate or create any hardship beyond the allowance of the parking that's there now. And of course, this guidance towards this location was developed early on in partnership, or with, I don't want to say partnership, Jeff, I don't want to drag you in, but in communication with both planning and zoning in terms of determining the best path forward to hopefully put the second floor of this building back into good use. So if there's any questions beyond that relative to our return here today, at the very least, we want to be able to report that the 2 owners are in agreement. We understand the land. We have a proper survey that can be shared relative to the recording as part of the zone change, which we also agree and feel is important in terms of making a zone change now that we have a documented meets and bounds from a professional surveyor. So happy to take any comments or questions.
Does anyone from the board have any questions at this point?
I was just wondering, are you going to formalize the other easements that the informal easements that are happening on the site, with Mr. Dellert and also with the neighbors on the other side?
Well, we are, Ronald, if you want to go back to that exhibit. So we're not commissioned by Mr. Dellert. I'm reporting what's been explained to us. So we do not intend to memorialize or submit an easement for how they've been using the land between those two parties. If anything, our client has been granting access informally to Mr. Dellert to access his driveway and his space across our parking lot.
And I was understanding your explanation, and maybe I'm incorrect, to say that those spots 8, 9, 10, 11 are spots that your property is using?
Well, everybody's using those. But technically speaking, they have been in use by anyone and everyone accessing the building. Peter is only looking to secure 2 spaces to ensure when he shows up, he has a place to park. And even in that request, we recognize that there is no formal easement. He's on a handshake, is making an agreement with Irfan, and unfortunately, I can't report to the nature of the agreement he may or may have with the neighbor to the plan left.
Okay.
The reality is, for us, we have driveway width. You can see where the driveway is, and we have an easement across the yellow to get to our rear parking lot. So there is a case or a scenario where we could make a driveway by crossing over spaces 6 and 7 on our land across the yellow to access parking at the rear. So technically speaking, and in the rear parking lot, we're actually allowing Mr. Dellert to put that trailer there, which would have to be removed. In that rear lot, we have capability of parking, I think, 6 or 7 cars in a rear lot. It's basically an open paved space right now.
So, I'm not suggesting that you have to do easements, but if you don't do them, then you're suggesting that you have probably 5 slots in the front if you have to get rid of 6 and 7 for the passage, and then another 6 in the back. So you probably, without further easements, you're saying you have 11 parking spots on the lot.
I think so. Ronald, does that match the diagram that we had earlier where we were about 11?
Yes.
Is there a diagram that shows that? A scenario where you have the passage to the back of the lot?
Not right now. No.
I mean, I think that as
You could draw a little S-turn, Ronald, while we're talking of what I diagrammed on
Yeah.
your deck here today.
I mean, in general, we haven't always insisted that people be able to show all of those on a lot in a neighborhood where there is, in theory, street parking. But it's useful to know how many spaces you do think that you actually have on the lot if it came to that.
Yep.
Oh, I should just mention for the record that I wasn't present when this was heard before, but and I understand that this is for a variety of technical reasons, it's not absolutely necessary, but I did go back and listen to the tape, so I just wanted to put that on record that I've reviewed the previous hearing before I came to this one.
Ronald, can you give us an S-turn going up from the lower corner of 7 up to the upper left corner of 6? Yeah, there you go. So this little diagram, here again, with the survey and the new information, quite honestly, we weren't sure how little or how much we'd need to show or present to the board. But this diagram, and it shows that we can access from the street across the shared easement to our rear parking lot, and it would cost us 2 parking spaces, and we would generate at least 6 more in the back. I mean, legally, clearly, there's been some adopted use over time that doesn't match the actual limitations of the land. And honestly, if Mr. Deller, or if there was failed opportunity to gain formal approval to use those, what is right now 6 spaces, essentially Mr. Deller has, you can see in pink, drive access, where he can drive up his lane and park right in front of his building.
Mhm.
And I believe that was probably the original intent in creating that flag lot. He has street frontage and a way to get to the front doors of his garage. But I'm only surmising what might have been the intent.
Well, I'll say, like, I think that from my perspective, it makes sense for us to try to move this forward in a way that allows for the reuse of the second floor as residences or as apartments. And I understand that the proposal is to change this to DR zoning so that that's possible. I think that from the perspective of the city, that makes sense to be able to have that usage, and switching, in my opinion, from BG to DR isn't it's moving the property in a direction that doesn't, to my mind, create additional uses that would be difficult for the neighborhood and the neighbors. So, and generally speaking, this feels like a good idea to me. My one concern, and I think that I would, this wouldn't make me vote against this, but this would be something that I would ask that if we do decide to proceed with a recommendation in favor, that we just note for the city council that it is a little awkward since the regulations for DR call for buildings that have residences above to be 3 stories. I think that that's in my interpretation, that is so that people don't go ahead and build shorter buildings in a downtown that has generally been 3-story buildings. But this is a already existing building that has had residences on the second floor. And so I don't see that it benefits anybody to insist that it only happen for 3-story buildings when this is an already existing 2-story building with that use. But I would just ask that if we do send a recommendation in favor, that we note for the record that this is a pre-existing 2-story building rather than a 3-story building.
Appreciate that. I think in our application, we did note that the height of the building or number of stories was an exception to the DR requirement. And Ronald, if you have a street view photo, we could share that to remind people. It is a tall 2-story, about almost a half story above grade at the first floor. But I understand where you're coming from, and we appreciate the comment.
Are there any other members of the board that have any comments?
I'm good.
I feel similarly, this is a good adaptive reuse of this building, or expanded or return to use for this building. I think the ambiguity of the potential relationship that we're asking to kind of respond to is I'm not sure of our particular limits of the relationships between the 2 property owners, but it seems like the owner, your client, is capable of satisfying the requirements within their landholding. This elevation, which you're using to prove your point about the height of the building.
Mhm.
I mean, I think the exception that Kate is describing is important to me too, but that rear lot that overlooks Beach Street, just were you to proceed to use that lot for parking, one would hope that you would improve that relationship to Beach Street. But as part of the creation of this opportunity for new apartments.
Appreciate that. I presume if there's a zone change, we'll be then following the protocol for, and Jeff may know this off the top of his head, whatever may be in front of us for site plan review or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever town or city permitting may be required before we get to building permit. So I presume we'll be into next conversations, which maybe we're touching on now with how are we parking? What are we parking? What was the original criteria? What's the current? And or how we're going to resolve some longstanding issues.
Right. There's some advantages and benefits from the owner resolving their parking needs entirely within their own site and landholding. But that sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good project.
Rosanna?
Question, is your lower area, your basement area, gonna be converted into a living space? Because I know it was a living space back in the day. Or is it a storage space?
Yeah, that has not been discussed, not once with us. The whole point of this was to convert the upper floor, as they've been unable to gather commercial interest, and it's a much apparently a client feels the market is much better and or opening up to the ability to put residential on the second floor. It greatly enhances the opportunity to rent the building, but only conversations that I've heard in the last year have all been about the upper floor.
Okay, just curious.
There are no other comments from anyone on the board. Are there any members of the public that have comments? And does staff have any comments?
No, we're all set.
Okay. In hearing no further comments, is the board feeling satisfied that we can close this hearing? And if so, do I have a motion to close it?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote for Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Paul,
Yes.
and Scott.
Yes.
Excellent. So now that we have everyone here, we can go back to item number 1 on the agenda. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing for the special permit section 6464, increase in sign size and multiple for Stop and Shop at 2265 Northampton Street, special permit 2026-13?
So
moved.
Moved.
Second.
Go team.
Everybody's.
There's a couple of both.
Okay.
Roll call vote for Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Paul,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have someone to walk us through this one? Christina? I think you need to unmute and can we give Christina sharing power?
she is.
Okay, I'm
upset.
unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I can't share my screen because I had to use my phone. For some reason, I couldn't get you on my computer. I don't know
Okay.
why. So,
Brianna, open it up, the package.
Yep, give me 1 second.
Thank you so much.
so basically, Stop and Shop is looking to increase the size allowed for their main sign, the pharmacy and the Citizens. Actually, the main sign in the pharmacy equal the 80 square foot allowed by a special permit. And the bank is separate. It's its own entity. So it's just the normal bank that we usually use. This is it's exactly like the one on Lincoln Street that we just did too, back a couple months ago. So it's a small Stop and Shop, reduced size from what it is now. And none of the department signs are going to be there, just the pharmacy and the Citizens. So that will be all cleaned up. So there's a lot less square footage than what was existing today. And that's really basically it, because the other part of it is we're going to put a pylon face in the existing pylon. We're going to just swap that out, and we're going to swap out the gas signs, which comply, which are 40 square foot. So the only thing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, you. Sorry. Go ahead.
So the only thing we need is to increase the 40 square foot to, or 60, I'm not sure whether it was 40 or 60, to 80, which is what we're allowed on a special permit.
Yeah. And it's all within the guidelines of the special permit. So I don't have any further questions. It seems very straightforward to me. Does anyone else on the board have any further questions?
I do not.
Comfortable with the change based on the elevations that are shown in the special permit.
And do any members of the public or staff have any comments?
The only thing I would just offer is, due to the fact that it's 2 on the easterly elevation, I would just want to make sure that the final notice of decision reads multiple and increase in sign size. Because arguably there's 2 signs facing east related to the Stop and Shop.
Okay. Noted. Just making sure. Okay. Well, in hearing that there's no more questions, do I have a motion to close this public hearing?
Motion to close.
Second,
Roll call vote for Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Rosanna? Rosanna?
Oh, I said yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Thanks.
Paul,
yes.
Can you not hear me?
no,
We did then, but not before.
Oh, it keeps saying unstable network, unstable network. Maybe that's why. But yes, I'm gonna nod.
all right, Paul
Yes.
and Scott.
Yes.
Great.
Okay. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing for item number 2, special permit section 6-1-7, reduction of parking requirements for Brian Taub, 6169 Suffolk Street, special permit 2026-14.
So moved.
Oh, second.
Roll call vote for
And
Lauren,
is,
Oh.
yes. Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Paul
Yes.
and Scott.
Yes.
And is there anyone here to walk us through this one? Jeff, it was my understanding that in order to understand what the applicant was actually asking for here, we would need somebody to walk us through. Is that
Correct. Yes.
okay? So if it doesn't appear that there's anyone here for this item, so with that, should we continue to potentially the 22nd? Would that be the best date?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to continue this item to the 22nd?
So moved.
So moved. Seconded.
Roll call vote for Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am. Oh my
Paul,
God.
Yes.
and Scott.
I can't unmute.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion to open the public hearing for item number 3, the special permit continued, section 4.6.3.2, exceeding fence heights for Rafael and Sheila Rivera, 230 to 232 Beach Street, continued from 0609 and 728.
So moved.
Second.
And point of order, if I recuse myself from this particular portion of the hearing, is that going to create a quorum issue, or are you folks still good?
It'll
Believe
be,
yourself, or correct?
I watched everything I needed to watch from the previous meeting, so we're good.
So I'm going to abstain from this portion of the meeting.
Roll call vote for Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
and Scott.
Yes.
So on this one, it's my understanding that a site visit was requested, but it was unable to happen before this meeting. Go ahead, Kate.
I'm just gonna say that's probably mainly my fault. I'm the person who really wanted it, and I was away most of the time since the last meeting. So I would love it if we could schedule a site visit now and just delay taking this back up again to another meeting if that's okay with the proponents.
Is anyone here for this? I thought I
No.
saw Attorney Moriarty.
He was
But he
definitely
is-
here.
He's been popping
But-
in and out. I think something's wrong with the signal.
Okay. Well, given that no one's here, I think that continuing, does it feel like we can continue to this 22nd, or are we looking like we're getting a little stacked for the 22nd?
On the 22nd, you currently have zone changes as one topic. The continuation of the Suffolk Street that was just continued, and 2 site plan review amendments.
That feels doable. Does
Yeah.
that feel like enough time to get a, because I know Scott, you had wanted to go see it too in person.
Yes. Yes.
So
Is it just Scott and me who need to see it at this point? Or is Rosanna?
I think if the timing works, I'll join you guys, but
Okay.
I can also take a walk by it if I can't join you.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, Jeff, if you could try to get times from them about what would work, I can hopefully be more available.
Yeah.
Don't be a creeper, Lauren. We have enough of those.
Appreciate the coordination, Parker and Jeff. Sorry to have not responded to the date that was offered.
I'll reach out to
No, I
Mike.
think we were waiting for Kate, right? Or am I going crazy?
I
thought that's
I
what-
definitely I feel like I'm the weak link on this one, so I will
You
not
have
be
a
going
wife
forward.
and children? How dare you?
All right. Well, so pending our site visit, do I have a motion to continue to September 22nd?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote for Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
and Scott.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, do I have a motion to open the public hearing
Excuse me
for,
1 second, Lauren, just as an FYI, we just got an email from Mike Moriarty basically stating on behalf of Rafael and Sheila, I stayed on the Zoom for tonight's meeting for 15 minutes. I made a second attempt to join at 5:55 and then did enter the meeting. I'm out of town and did not see the Riveras present. I am now about to be forced to sign off due to a phone issue. I ask if possible that the matter be tabled until September. So just putting that on the record.
Great.
Thank you.
so, I mean, not great that he had connectivity issues and had to be there on vacation, but great that it works to go to September for all parties.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very convenient.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Jeff. So do I have a motion to open the public hearing for item number 5, the zone change continued from 1/20/26, Panich Thelmeyer Purcell, section 6.4.6 BG signs.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call vote for Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Oh, you can see her connectivity issues here.
Yeah.
Did you see me? Yes, ma'am. Did you hear me?
now I did,
Now
yep.
we hear you.
All right, Paul
yes.
and Scott.
Yes.
Okay, so what updates do we have on this one? I know that Jeff and Rosanna were working on this.
Brianna, can you go to the drive and can you share your screen for under, well, obviously this item number 5.
Mhm.
And then if you go to meeting notes there and go to working group number 1, BG signs proposed, which would be, we'll go to the third one down.
Gotcha.
We extended it, if I'm correct, right, Jeff? Because it just made sense.
Right. So I don't know. Do you want to take it, Rosanna, or do you want me to take it just briefly?
You could take it briefly. I mean, it's not much. We just increased it. There's not.
Right. So we spent, I don't know, it's not a matter of measurement of time, but we were discussed it for about an hour plus. We looked at it. We also looked at other, what other large big box retailers would be seeking by today's standards. And, we did Home Depot. And in that, you can see it's roughly 290 to 460. TJ Maxx is between 1,500 and 300. Target, there was nothing public. Lowe's, there was nothing public. But one of the things that we had discussed and through our the brief notes that you see here was that, that originally the proposal was, 40 and 300 based on 50,000 square feet or greater. And based on our discussion and based on what we saw for, other large big box retailers was that, 600 would be a good number as, say, a maximum, and that to perhaps double the 50,000 to 100,000, just because that would further, say, enhance the ordinance in such a manner that it would have to be a really big, presumably a big lot to accommodate 100,000 square feet. And therefore, that 100,000 square feet by today's standards could be justified with a larger square footage maximum as compared to, say, the BH, which allows up to 300 square feet by special permit. This would be up to 600 square feet, but with that 100,000 square foot minimum area of total square footage. And, one thing in speaking with Kate and, was that we might want to further define though findings outside of the standard 9.3.2 special permit requirements. And so, I'm just kind of throw that out there that, this is what, say, the working group found and are just reporting it back out. And if, I know that Parker O'Brien was also involved in the discussion. But so at this point, if either Rosanna or Parker have anything to further add, I will stop.
I think it just made sense. We spoke about it, to avoid coming back here and asking for a special permission or extensions and all that good stuff. It just made sense.
Well, keeping in mind that it would still be special permit up to 600.
Up to 600, yes. But
Right.
anything, most
Right.
people are going to be asking for that, so we don't have to be meeting here every 2 seconds.
So Kate, what were you thinking in terms of additional findings that were necessary?
Well, my only thought, would be to maybe ask for clarification that signs of that size to me make could make a lot of sense for a big box store in a location that's clearly commercial. But findings, to me, it might want to specify that the signs are facing towards a commercial corridor, and not towards residential or say parkland. I just don't want us to be in a situation where we're having if a neighborhood has mixed zoning, I don't want residential zones to be facing large signs, for instance.
Would that occur? Like,
I was just thinking, I didn't think of that because I didn't think that would occur. So now I'm thinking.
It might.
Just 100,000 square foot build in a mixed use.
So, I mean, I would say that that could possibly occur, similar to like, the Holyoke Mall, for instance, which is zoned BH. I know obviously it's not zoned the same, but when you're looking at the mall, let's see, it is to the east, that's all zoned RA. So, there could be a note, and I'm just making this up off the top of my head, but, looking at section 6464, where there's the asterisks that takes you to, that says in this case, 100,000, there could be something, I'm just, again, thinking off the top of my head, that could be added to that asterisk, which would say, for only projects with having a minimum of 100,000 square feet, and that all signage be directed away from, to Kate's point, residential districts and or parkland or something. There could be that notation added at that point, and still, because the board would presumably still take into account the requirements under special permits under 932. So, there could be a natural place under the table of 6464, which then could add that additional notation of direction.
Yeah, I have no issue with that additional notation. I just didn't know if there was a practical reason for like needing it, if there was a way that would come up. But I guess as in you just illustrated with the mall that it could potentially come up. Does anyone else have any thoughts?
Otherwise, I'm fine with it. So,
I mean, the only thing I would want to add though is if, let's just say there was an existing BG zone, what would the compromise be if there was an elevation facing a residential zone? Would there have to be another finding that it would be reduced to half? And I'm just, again, thinking off the top of my head, but looking at some of the BGs in the city, there are some that do have an elevation that would directly impact or directly, I shouldn't say impact, but rather be directed towards a residential zone. So there might be some further consideration or discussion necessary for that, or is this something that we should kind of draft something and then come back?
Yeah, maybe we continue this and then work on like keep it open, continue, and then work on a draft to come back. Does that make sense?
I mean, to staff, it makes sense, but does it, I guess, to the board?
yeah, I think that's fair, and it doesn't seem like it needs too much work. It just needs to give us an out to have some ability to regulate. Obviously, it's a special permit, so we have an ability to regulate it, but saying that that's an item for findings gives us clear guidance to always consider that when we are looking at a application.
Okay, so then when does it make sense to continue this out to? Do we need to go into October with this one?
I personally believe that we could still pick it up on September 22nd.
Okay.
It shouldn't take that long.
It seems pretty straightforward if I trust staff to be able to figure out some language and it'll probably just be easy to deal with, I would think.
Okay.
Famous last words, Kate.
Yeah.
Is there an especially like problematic instance of this that pre-exists this zoning change, just as a reference that I could go see? Keep thinking like of this. I was just wondering if there's something that triggered this as a proposal, or maybe if there's something that exists already that is
Well,
you
I
were
mean,
trying to prevent from occurring in the
It
future.
was that plaza. Remember when we met, Seatown, whatever it's called now, I forget what it's called. Key
Oh yeah,
Foods.
exactly.
They
Yes.
wanted, there's even though there's an existing sign there, they wanted something bigger, so that's how this came up.
Yeah, that's right. I hear you.
but I mean,
And
I'd
I
also
remember that.
throw out that, when you look at even the Kmart Plaza, obviously we know that there's something coming, but we don't know what.
Yes,
And
got
at
it.
this point, they would only be limited to the maximum of 80.
I remember this clearly now. Sorry, I just needed a nudge. Thank you, Rosanna. Jeff.
So do I have a motion to continue until September 22nd?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second. Kate, you're just too fast.
Roll call vote for Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Paul,
Yes.
and Scott.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to open the public hearing for item number 6, zone change continued from 2/3/26, McGrath native plants continued from 3/24/26, 4/28/26, 5/26/26.
So moved.
Do I have a
Second.
second?
Roll call vote for Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Paul,
Yes.
and Scott.
Yes.
So I know there was a working group working on this one. Do you guys want to give us an update about where things are?
Sure thing. Hey, Brianna, I just requested to be able to share, if that's possible. Share screen. So Paul and I have chatted with Parker and Jeff, and then Paul and I met to follow up on that meeting, and we can kind of walk through where we are. I can share my screen,
You're all
Paul,
set.
and then let's kind of do this together. So this is McGrath Smith's order, which we noticed had a couple different things embedded in the single statement. One, the request for exploring how to maintain or pursue a certain percentage of native plants in major rehabilitations and new construction, and then also to avoid or prohibit the use of invasive plants or plants identified through the Massachusetts prohibited plant list. So in conversation with Parker and Jeff, we were looking for a way to kind of begin to attack this, and with a zoning change, we were pointed at section 6.6 landscape requirements. And I want to acknowledge that Parker pulled together a bunch of precedents for us to look at from different communities in New England. And then I wanted everyone to look at a kind of different kind of project for the city of Raleigh. So this is in a file. This is work from Parker and from others called Working_Native Plants, Pollinators, Communities. So this is a kind of thinking space that we pulled together. And in observing different actions by communities in Connecticut, Massachusetts, we saw people kind of coming at the same, principles or ambitions that we think are expressed in McGrath Smith's request. And maybe the one that's closest to you all is a native plant ordinance from Somerville. But I encourage you all to look at these. Thanks, Parker, for identifying the majority of them. in looking at different kind of, so in this document, I'm sorry, I did like have to scroll here, but in this document exists the existing 6.6 landscape requirements. And then Paul and I have reviewed this and thought about how we would bring to you all for further consideration and then potentially onto ordinance alternative landscape requirements that would begin to set a foundation for pursuing or encouraging through our work instances of native plants in Holyoke and thinking about how to prohibit the occurrence of plants that are not desired, could be invasive, and definitely belong on the or exist on the native plant or the prohibited plants list for Massachusetts. So this is like fully drafted. And Paul, do you want to, should we talk about this together?
Sure.
So thinking about, this kind of request that McGrath Smith has put before us isn't really footed in anything in particular. Jeff encouraged like the open space plan or comprehensive plan. It's really an opportunity for us to look again at the purposes for the zoning requirements for landscape. So Paul and I got together and we came up with these. Lauren, what's the most efficient way to do this, and how would the board we could read through these and talk about them, or would you all like to review these?
Have you rewritten the entire section, or have you rewritten parts of the section?
I want to acknowledge that Paul and I felt most comfortable rewriting 6.61 purposes, okay. 6.62 applicability, and then requirements involved, fewer changes. We feel that it's important for the kind of maintenance item here to be discussed a little bit more comprehensively with folks here. But a lot of the front end of this section, Lauren, we edited.
Okay, so why don't you take us through the changes that you've made, if that sounds good to everyone else, and then we can talk about that last section in kind of a discussion.
Great. It's really about how this board can enact change and satisfy the order's requirements. So I'll just start reading, and Paul, please,
jump in as you go. You're doing a great job so far, Scott.
Thank you. All right. So we agreed that the first step here was that we wanted to create an environment that fosters community and enhances individual properties and neighborhoods. And before I go into this further, the existing zoning requirements for landscape are principally about screening, limiting, and creating edge conditions that separate owners and uses. And Paul and I kind of had a vision for maybe how we could reverse that a little bit and talk about how landscape can work to create continuity, connections, and you'll see where this goes. To advance a visually coherent and environmentally healthy character to Holyoke's public realm as experienced by residents, businesses, and visitors to Holyoke. To provide visual relief, establish shade, and protect from wind in parking lots and open spaces. To separate different and otherwise incomplete land uses from each other. To establish buffers in order to partially or completely reduce potential nuisances such as dirt, dust, litter, noise, glare from motor vehicle headlights, intrusion, artificial light, including ambient glare, thought about you, Kate, and your work on lighting, or view of signs, unsightly buildings, or parking lots. And then the kind of conclusion here is to seek public health benefits for Holyoke residents and businesses available through a resilient urban ecology rooted in Massachusetts native plant palette. So we're trying to get here from kind of overarching ambition of healthy communities, preserving values, to public health benefits and utilizing the native plant palette for Massachusetts. Applicability. So again, understanding what our work focuses on, the requirements of the section would apply to any non-residential uses which adjoins or abuts any residential use or district. Any non-residential use that adjoins or abuts any educational use, any multifamily parking facility which adjoins or abuts any residential use or district, any non-residential or multifamily area used for loading, and any non-residential or multifamily area used for open or semi-enclosed storage. Any and all municipal properties, including but not limited to public parks, parking lots, garages, and buildings. If you look at some of the precedents that we've pulled together from other communities, it is often the case that the community writing those plans or ordinances acknowledges that they themselves need to model the behavior that they're seeking from residents and businesses. So looking for the instance for Holyoke municipal and parks related sites to model this. And then requirements, this I think is, I'll just keep going. The property lines separating residential uses or districts shall be adequately screened from the uses specified in section 6.62 by means of vegetation, planting, or fencing where appropriate and permissible to be provided and maintained by the owner of the property used for non-residential or multifamily purposes. Owners of properties used for non-residential or multifamily purposes shall demonstrate understanding of landscape opportunities to fulfill City of Holyoke's purposes in accordance with Massachusetts native plant palette and Massachusetts prohibited plants list. So these Commonwealth-wide points of reference are kind of written into the zoning code here, hopefully to the satisfaction of the councilor. Municipal properties should demonstrate a plan to designate up to, this is where the percentage comes in, X percentage of available landscape for pollinators and native plants. It should encourage the City of Holyoke to develop a list of native plants, pollinators that are especially suited to Holyoke's unique environment and cityscape. Should requirements identify more specific conditions or scenarios where opportunities to fulfill, sorry, this might be something we
I think that's more of a question for us. Do we need to add some context here?
Yeah, sorry, let's move this to the notes.
You've been doing so well so far too.
Yeah, I know. I'm totally gonna walk off the job now. I'll put this down under notes. So planning board shall not approve a site plan unless the board determined that the application complies in all respects with the requirements of this section. We've maintained. And then under maintenance, I think we tweaked this a little bit. The owner of the property used for non-residential or multifamily purposes shall be responsible for the maintenance, repair, and replacement of landscaping materials installed in accordance with the section. All plant materials required herein shall be maintained in a healthful condition. Dead limbs, refuse, debris shall be promptly removed. Bark, mulch, non-plant ground surface materials shall be maintained so as to control weed growth and the conditions encouraging the establishment of invasive plants, which we should define. Dead plantings shall be replaced with new living plantings of the earliest appropriate season. Fences or walls shall be maintained in good repair, presentable appearance, or replaced. So here under maintenance, I think we both feel strongly that people will come before us with site plans that they will fail to maintain. So thinking about how to keep some of these goals about keeping native plants alive. We know they're fragile, but also figuring out how maintenance here under 6.65 addresses the occurrence of invasive plants, bittersweet, tree of heaven, etc., which is robust and abundant.
Balance as well between what's supporting a native planting. I signed off on this language, and now I think about whether dead plantings should be replaced as soon as possible with new live plantings. That's not always appropriate. What was the other one? Dead limbs, refuse, and debris shall be removed promptly. I mean, that depends upon whose definition. I have a whole section of backyard where I've cut down some trees, and that's all composting down. So those dead limbs and that dead grass are there intentionally. So I don't know how we balance that. And I think that's one of the challenges moving forward. Because there certainly are practical applications where you're going to have some decaying material on your property if you're actually encouraging a natural environment.
I think that just the word plantings makes it feel like it's something that should be alive versus like a mulch pile. Like it's it's not limbs, it's plantings. But that's
Right.
just my.
But I guess how do we make
Totally
that
see that. No,
distinction?
I can see that. I agree with that.
Yeah, I think this seems like a really great place to start for us to be thinking about. I'm looking forward to spending some more time reading through the examples you've pulled together, you and Parker have pulled together, and thinking about this. I'm thinking that in terms of what is that me being I'm
You're
hearing an
good.
echo.
You're
In
good.
any case, it's interesting to me too how much of this you're obviously suggesting some changes, but so much of what you've got here is already in the ordinance. And so I think that for members of the public who might come to whenever we continue this to, we might want to also put in the material, any, publicly viewable materials, a copy of what the current ordinance is so people can
Yes.
compare. I know we can look it up easily, but it might not be so obvious to members of the public how much of it is already existing. Um, and I'm curious too. I would love to have as we go further with this conversation to talk about the applicability section. You've added the municipal applicability, and that makes a lot of sense. But I noticed looking at that list of where the requirements apply, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of places that it doesn't apply to, and probably a lot of that for good reason. As much as we might like everybody to always use native plants, uh, applying that to, private homes is probably an overreach, but there might be other places where it's not an overreach for us to require um, a certain percentage of native plants. So
So
maybe there's more applicability. Jeff probably has something specific to say about that.
But just one thing I wanted to comment on, under 662, are you thinking any new non-residential use, or are you thinking existing as well? Because it might be hard to make someone conform that may have been there for 100 years, but
Right.
so I'm not sure. Should you be putting any new non-residential,
Although,
and so
although that, Jeff, I'm looking at the existing ordinance and 1 through 5 there is exactly what the existing ordinance says.
right? And I'm just trying to, so I guess my only reason for that comment is just if we were to now say, I mean, it would be a enforcement nightmare if this
Mhm.
later gets pushed through, not pushed through, but brought through and brought back to the council for approval, because maybe that's a wrong that should be righted.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it does make sense to say anything new or just anything coming before the board.
Yes.
If you're doing a new site plan, you're doing a new use, whichever. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
I don't want to start walking through Holyoke and deciding who has to comply and who doesn't now.
What a great we could have like a little electric vehicle that just cruises around citing
I suppose that could be my job when I retire.
So that's a nightmare.
compliant. No, my assumption here was, and I think Paul's as well, was we were talking about things in the future.
Yeah.
But this is, yes, taken, Kate, correctly from the existing language, which does not specify new and future. But
Shame on us. We should have noticed that.
does it, what is the definition in the zoning ordinance of multifamily? Like, are we talking 2 or more? Are we talking more commercial multifamily of like 4 or more?
I
Well,
I think we thought it was 4 or more. Was that correct, Scott?
right. Apartment buildings, not triple deckers, or yeah,
I
We don't
think
have
that
a lot of triple deckers out here, Scott.
you know what I mean. Yeah. Yes.
I think that might be worth calling out, because I think at 4, Rosanna, correct me if I'm wrong, at 4, it's becomes a commercial situation, correct? Anyway, I'm just imagining people like that live in 2 or 3 family homes could have a reaction.
I suppose anybody will have a reaction. Whether it's a justifiable reaction is a different question. But yeah, I think our intent was for more use.
Yeah.
Something about this with applicability and requirements, I think the existing landscape requirements are elegant in that they are kind of, there's a clear set of actions about those limits and boundary settings that that was being called for. I think, the thing that we're responding to is instead creating a certain kind of presence or substance or absence per McGrath Smith. And it's a little harder to figure out from applicability, what we're actually asking people to take action for, except in the sense when they're coming before the board to say they're going to include a certain percentage of native plants, or they're going to, commit to a certain maintenance and operations plan for their site. So I was wondering for, as we read this, how we can think about I agree with you, Kate, about finding more applicability, but also just how we can, make more instances of this in the future, acknowledging we're not going to do it retroactively to existing conditions. I would ask you all to look at, I think the Greenfield instance that we've included on speaks to not a zoning or not an ordinance on native plants, but a kind of community, I don't know if it was community led, but a kind of broader consciousness raising effort about the existence of native plants in the community, and it speaks to the opportunities that business owners and homeowners might have to contribute to a certain kind of biodiversity in their community. I found that to be inspiring. The Raleigh, North Carolina example that's included is also an aspirational guidance for homeowners and business owners, developers, about how they can contribute to a vision for native plants in their community. Some of this work might exist in a way, that can be part of the zoning process, but it might also be an opportunity to think about this is a goal for Holyoke in the future and the character. But I'm grateful for the opportunity to talk to you all about this, and think that this is an important part of, both public health in Holyoke and, also the kind of civic character of the community and overall value of our city's property. So, what is the next step for this kind of thing, Jeff? Is it kind of just continued conversation? Next future
I guess at this point, whether anything that was said tonight can, between, I guess, yourself and Paul, if you want to make any further revisions, the board can continue it, but eventually, presumably, the board's going to come to a consensus that what they see is pretty much a recommendation that can then be, close the hearing and then move forward with a recommendation to the ordinance committee about this is what a final draft could look like.
Should we,
at that point,
should we agree to review and read the supporting materials that you've provided, and then continue it to give you guys feedback, and then you guys can take a pass at it before we decide to move it forward?
That makes sense to me.
Okay, so how long would everyone like before we take it up again? And are we feeling like the 22nd is real full at this point? Or are we, it all seems like pretty quick stuff on the 22nd, so.
Well, the 22nd, just have it be known that that's the opening night of the zoning revisions again, continued from 6/23. So I'm not sure how much time that's going to take, but based on, we've now got 2 special permit public hearings, a zone change public hearing, and 2 site plan review amendments, and the zoning revisions 1 to 41.
So do we want to do to October 13th?
That makes more sense to me. I think we're going to be very busy on the 21st.
Okay. All right. Do I have
and
a
we're going to
motion
be
continue?
stressed.
Maybe. Maybe it'll be fine. Who knows?
Oh, sure.
Do I have a motion to continue this to October 13th?
So moved.
A second.
Second.
Roll call vote for Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Paul,
Yes.
and Scott.
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion to open the Holyoke Planning Board meeting, public meeting of August 25th, 2026?
Moved.
Second.
Roll call vote for Lauren,
Yep.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Paul,
Yes.
and Scott.
Yes.
Okay, item number 1. Do we have a draft notice of decision we can look at?
Yes, in the Google Drive folder.
Give me 1 second. What up?
Planning board meeting number 1 SP.
Oh, hold on. It's going in. 1 second.
I'm having a really hard time. I don't know if it's on my end, but you got the screen keeps coming in and out. I like you guys are coming and going. I'm not sure if it's my connection.
I think it might be you. Do you want to try hopping off and hopping back on?
Am
Can you
I
guys see it?
the
Hang on 1 second. Rosanna, I think it might be you if you want to try hopping off, hopping back on.
What? Okay, I'm gonna try that.
Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
So obviously, this is just a draft. At the end of the day, it's the board's final decision. Staff just puts this together as just that, a draft. There are some holes that need to be filled. One thing, while we've got Attorney Bissonnette here, and while Rosanna is waiting, we're waiting for Rosanna to get back, one question I've got is, recently there was a bunch of changes by the state to 40A signed off by the governor. And one thing that she had pushed forward was the extension to 3 years for special permits and site plan review. Now, city ordinances have not changed. So that normally the text on, would say, in accordance with Chapter 40A, Section 9, said approval shall expire in 2 years. At this point, should we be putting 2 years or should we be putting 3 years? Because the governor's order says one thing, but the ordinances say another. And I just would like to clarify that.
Attorney Bissonnette, can
Yeah,
you?
apologize for not unmuting. People have been trying to mute me for years. I do it to myself now. I believe, Jeff, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe in some instances, I think VOC just had one where their 2-year permit, they asked for an extension and were granted it under the city ordinance. I think the thought has been too, and if for some reason during the pandemic, clearly there was cause to extend those to 3, but I think we might want to at some point amend our own ordinance. But as many of you are aware, the economic development package for some reason now has a whole section on zone changes. And we'll have to wait to see what comes out of the conference committee and the legislature on that. But they've stacked it with a few items that we're going to have to take a closer look at and probably incorporate. So good point. I think up to 3 has been kind of the standard, but now it looks like 3 as a matter of right, maybe the rule. So we'll have to take a look at changing the ordinance on that. Thanks, Jeff.
Right. So, so at this point though, is it safe, even though it's contrary to our the city ordinance, should we just be putting 3 in light of the fact though?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Anything else I can help with tonight? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Not yet.
Thank you. So, what was expressed by Christina was that, the easterly side, it's almost like a site plan review update as well, for the whole sign package. But the signage for Stop and Shop, they're proposing, and what's before the board is a total of 80 square feet between the Stop and Shop sign and logo and the pharmacy. And the Citizens Bank is a total entity to itself, a different entity to itself, because of the fact that, it's not Stop and Shop. They could arguably even go larger if they wanted to. But so what's before the board is the fact it's multiple and up to 80. And, the signs on the canopy for the gas station is, plus or minus, but, let's just say 40 square feet. So that's more or less just an update to you all. So, but what's before you and what this decision should reflect is what's on the building, in this case, the easterly elevation.
This looks fine to me. The only thing I see is that finding 1, it should be advertised, not advertising, I think.
Yes. Advertise and support the.
Yeah, no D, just advertise.
Yep.
So if this is looking good to everybody and there's no further changes, do I have a vote, a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote for Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Paul,
Yes.
and Scott.
Yes.
Okay, and then item
Do you
number
Hear
2.
me? No, still?
Sorry, I didn't catch what that was.
You're still glitching, Rosanna.
Okay, so item number 2 was continued to the 22nd. Item number 3 was continued to the 22nd. Item number 4 we closed. Is there a draft for that one?
So for item number, so typically when it comes to decisions or recommendations, staff does not have one drafted because staff doesn't know where the board's going to go.
That makes sense. So then do we want to take that up next time for a vote?
I would think you'd almost have to do it today unless you'd be working on it on the 8th, because you only have X period of time to do. I thought it was 20 days to get
Right.
something to the city council or the ordinance committee rather.
Okay. Do we have something similar that we can pull up and kind of deal language from?
I mean, can we take a vote and then staff can write the letter? I mean, the vote is, I would assume, to approve it. And we can say things that we want the staff to put in the letter. Like, I would like to make sure that the letter includes a mention that, we know that this isn't a 3-story building, but we think this is a reason, there's, this is the best option, and given that it's a pre-existing building, we feel it meets the spirit of the ordinance.
If staff is comfortable with that, then I am comfortable with that. How does the rest of the board feel?
I'm fine with that.
So what we can do is I'll put something together, Lauren, and I will shoot you, it'll be tomorrow, obviously, and I'll shoot you a draft.
Sounds
And then we can also, I know that you had mentioned perhaps being available to sign some stuff on Thursday. So
Yeah.
at that point, we can finalize it then, if everybody's okay with that.
Sounds good to me. I think we understand the language that's important to include.
Yeah, we can always pull it off of the recording also.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the zone change requested?
A second.
Roll call vote for Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes. I don't know if you can
Paul?
hear me.
Yes.
and Scott.
Yes.
Okay, and then item number 6, the zone change was continued to October 13th. And then item number 7, we have an A&R to review.
Brianna, can you please pull that up?
Yep, just give me 1 second.
Thank you. Okay, so this is kind of a unique one. The dashed line that you see to the right-hand side of the page, or let's just say like 2/3 to the right, or however you want to look at that, north-south, that's the municipal bounds between Westfield and Westfield and Holyoke. But so I was gonna say Project East, but regardless, East Mountain Road's to your left. This is land of Alan Feeney, so he owns the fields, the farmers' fields in Westfield. If you ever go down East Mountain Road, but his property also goes into Holyoke to its east, or to the rear, we'll say. Well, you'll see a rectangle there, and what he's looking to do is carve that off and basically put it into a trust, because that's going to become a future burial ground for the Feeney family. And, does it meet any of the criteria? No, it's not. It's basically creating an unbuildable lot, other than for, I guess, the installation of graves. And there, in this, after discussion with the
It's Janae. Oh, I'm sorry.
with the discussion with the surveyor, there is a notation there that basically states that signing this A&R does not in any way constitute agreeance or no determination of compliance with the zoning requirements has been made or intended. Because under normal circumstances, it'd be, is the parcel on a way? Does it have access? Does it have frontage? This has none of those, other than the fact that it's part of a larger property to the west in Westfield. There's basically no reason why the board shouldn't sign this or sign off on this, but they are going to be held later to DEP requirements when it comes to, again, installing a grave, whatever you call that, putting in that presumably it has to be X amount of feet underground, can't be in a wetland, so there's other criteria that they'll have to follow, but it's beyond planning board control. And it's strictly just looking at it in terms of they're carving off this unbuildable lot which happens to be in the future used as a burial ground.
Smart. They don't got to pay taxes on it. I love it. Do it.
Well, I don't know about. I'm not quite sure.
I mean, it's 100 or it's 1,000 square feet. So,
Yeah.
okay, do we have to vote to approve an A&R? I forget. I mean, like we have previously, but
It's not necessary, but we
we do
might as
it.
well.
Okay, do you have a motion to approve the A&R?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call vote for Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Paul,
yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to planning board business. The first one is the project updates for a site plan review amendment of Casella at 686 Main Street, notice of decision number 74, number 116, and or number 132, amendment number 2. Do we have somebody here who wants to chat
Yeah.
with us? I think it's Laura.
Thank you. For the record, Laura Bouguet with Green Seal Environmental, on behalf of the applicant. So the amendment request that we have before you tonight is for the installation of 2 exterior metal staircases at 686 Main Street, which is the transfer station. So one of the staircases is located on the northeast side. I can share my screen too, if that would help.
That'd be great.
All right, looks like I am sharing. So the northeast side of the building faces Berkshire Street. This was installed essentially for safety measures. There's a second story picking line in this section of the building here, so that gives a secondary means of egress to that floor. And then the second set of stairs are in the southwest corner of the building. They installed a new tarping station inside the building in the rail bay in this corner. Again, it was a safety measure in order to give them a good working platform to install netting and tarping over the rail cars that they load inside the building. So both the stairs are metal. They're supported either by being bolted to the concrete foundation or support posts. That's the extent of the amendment. Do you have any questions?
Kate?
I have a question, but it's not about the stairs. So if anybody else has stairs questions, they should go first.
I feel like the stairs are fairly straightforward. And nobody has their hand raised, so go for it, Kate.
Okay. So my question, it has bothered me for years that the doors on the station that, in my understanding, are supposed to automatically shut so that dust, noise, smell doesn't get out into the neighborhood. Every time I go by it, those doors are open, and not closing behind anybody going in and out. Like the big doors that I guess are, in the dark colors at the top,
Yeah.
the
So
north
there's
of the building.
Yeah, there's 2 along here. And then there's another 3 here on this side of the building.
Yeah, so sometimes some of the doors are closed, but there's always open doors. And my
Yeah.
understanding was that those doors are supposed to close automatically so that
Yep.
dust is contained.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was ever I wasn't involved in the originally permitting, but in terms of the door operations, is they have them open as trucks are coming in and out, and they close them when there's periods of inactivity.
I just feel like I never see them closed. I always see them open, and it um as a community that has been ecologically challenged over the years, it really bothers me to see those doors open. And you know, you coming before us with the stairs is not the doors, but I'm I would be inclined to say I want to hear back about how you all are moving forward about keeping the doors closed and protecting the neighborhood from the dust and the smell and what have you. Before, while I have the opportunity, while you're in front of me, I would like some information about that before I sign off on stairs.
Sure, understood. And you know, as for dust and odor controls at this facility, there is an interior misting system that they use to knock down dust. Basically, it's an atomized mist that adheres to the dust particles and brings them out of suspension quicker. Sometimes you'll see that mist kind of coming out of the doors, which a lot of people can confuse as dust. I'm not saying you are, I'm just saying that it has been confused in the past. And also, the facility is equipped with an air handling system. And that is on the south side here, because this is where they handle the MSW, which is typically more odorous. The C&D is handled on this side, which is dry waste and doesn't smell. So there are intakes on this wall that pull the air through, and it goes through a stack here. The misting system is also on this side of the building. They are also able to add odor counteractants to the misting system, which helps deodorize, you know, the air as they're in the building and as they're pulling it through that stack.
Okay.
Is there a misting section over in the dry area?
Yes. Yep. So the misting system in this area controls the dust, and then the misting system in this area helps control odor and some dust if there is some.
And all that's terrific, but my understanding is, and again, you know, approval of this facility predates my presence here, but my understanding was the doors are supposed to close automatically whenever possible, and I never see them closed. So I'd love to see, you know, all the controls in the world for a interior space are great, but if doors that are supposed to close aren't closed, that obviates some of the environmental gain there. So I'd like to see, you know, some reporting back about how the doors are functioning and how often they're closed and what you can do to improve that situation.
Yeah, I can go back to the client and I can let them know of your concerns.
Thanks.
And have them, you know, speak with operations and make that request to close doors more often.
Yeah, I mean, I brought this up last time we saw them, which has to have been like 5 years ago. And the response then was that they were waiting on parts.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
but I've never, you know, my experience driving by is that I haven't seen an improvement in how often the doors are closed.
Yeah. So the doors need to be closed at night. That's in all their other permits. If the doors do happen to break because trucks can hit them, then yes, maybe they would need to leave it open because they can't actually close it. But again, they're required to keep the doors in good working order per their solid waste permits, per their permit with the Board of Health. So the door should be closed at night when they're not operating as well. And then as much as they can during the day.
Yeah,
while they are
I just,
operating.
because I knew this was coming up today, this afternoon I drove by and I didn't see trucks there. Maybe they were there and I just didn't see them, but all three of the bays in the right-hand building were wide open the whole time I was there.
Yeah,
They
and
don't have
sometimes-
automatic closing doors. I mean, that's a pretty simple function.
I agree with Kate. I drive by there a lot, and
Yep. Yeah, I think the automatic doors with the sensors are more traditionally installed with the plastic clear doors, whereas these are your traditional metal roll-up doors.
Yeah.
So they're heavier and they don't
Yep.
have the mechanism.
I have more than a dozen metal doors that open, and they open daily.
Yeah.
So there's no reason that that can't happen there as well.
Yeah.
That's just not an acceptable answer, in my opinion.
I understand. And I know that, with operations, trucks can pull in and then they can pull forward. The loaders are going in and out trying to manage, the inbound waste and loading. So, the doors do get hit a lot. So I think having the automatic sensors on it could actually potentially increase the amount of door hits that could occur.
That's a management issue. I mean, I manage a fleet of 300 buses.
Yeah.
And, we use automatic doors out minute by minute every day of the year.
Yep.
That's just a matter of your people. So that's I'm not even buying that as a reason why the doors can't close. I'm sorry.
Well, I believe the site was originally approved with automatic doors, and I recall them being fast acting doors, and that was one of the big selling points of the door, was that they were supposed to be fast and motion activated, or whatever, however activated. I don't think it was a person pushing a button on them.
All of my doors are sensor activated.
Good. I'll take a look at permits and provide some additional information back to the board.
Thanks.
Sure.
So there's nothing else about the stairs at this point, and we know that we're gonna wait for Laura to come back with more information. When do you think you can get back to us, Laura?
I should get back to you within a couple days, maybe.
Okay.
Great. Yeah.
So since this isn't a hearing, we don't have to continue it to a specific time. Jeff can just put it on the schedule when it comes in.
Right, exactly. It can be, all we need is the information, the Wednesday before, that within the business hour, within the typical business hours on the Wednesday before the meeting night is when we would need, any additional information by, so we can make sure it's on the agenda. Again, the September 8th agenda is going to be tricky, so presumably then it would be September 22nd, assuming this is rather a quick approval. Or should I say review and approval?
Yeah. So we'll just wait to hear back from Laura and then put it on the agenda accordingly. All right, want to go over meeting schedule?
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time.
Thanks.
So the meeting agenda, September 8th currently, September 8th is scheduled to be an in-person meeting. We're still waiting to see whether or not, I know that Holyoke Media has committed to the finance committee, I believe, that night. So we're still trying to figure out if that space will allow for Wi-Fi, because there are a couple other meetings that are hearings that have been advertised as being by Zoom. So one of them was a special permit for a parking reduction. We've got a zone change at, let's see, where is it? 120 and 0 Pine Street. We've also got a zone change request for 12 Crescent Street. And then we've also got the comprehensive plan presentation with agency landscape and planning. And presumably that evening will also be a vote of the board whether or not to accept the plan as drafted and later amended. That would be September 8th. Oh, there's also an A&R. No, the A&R might be, I'll have to confirm with Conscom. It might be the 8th or might be the 22nd. I will confirm with them tomorrow morning.
If we
Go ahead.
don't have Zoom capability for that meeting, what of that is going to have to shift?
We would have to shift the two special permits and the two zone changes and the special permit. And the ISO 6-month update.
Okay. And just so everyone knows, I did reach out to OPED Director Eric Nakajima to see if he's heard any updates from Holyoke Media about whether we will have Wi-Fi ability on that meeting or not. And I just reached out to him this afternoon, so I haven't heard back yet.
And then on obviously September 22nd, we've got the zoning revisions continued. We have a site plan amendment for stack storage. We have a site plan review amendment for library commons. We have the continuation of the special permit for Suffolk Street that was heard earlier this evening, but continued. We've also got the special permit for Beach Street that was heard earlier this evening, but continued. We've got the zone change continuation for signs in BG zones. And I think that's the night with the A&R from Conscom, but I'll confirm that tomorrow morning. Currently on October 13th, we have the continuation of the zone change for native plants, as previously discussed this evening. And currently there's to be determined on October 27th. That's it.
And just a quick update, I actually did hear back from Eric Nakajima, and he said he has no updates, but he will go knock on Holyoke Media's door tomorrow to find out the answer for sure. So more will be revealed.
And that's all for scheduling.
Okay, and then there's nothing for other business?
Unless the board has a specific question that staff might be able to answer.
I guess the one
that leads to many existential questions that I have, but maybe best to wait.
We are hoping to have the final comprehensive plan from agency in the next couple of days to be able to share out.
Great.
Everyone to be able to review prior to the September 8th meeting.
Thanks. That was a question I had.
But waiting to hear from them in terms of when we will have it. Okay, minutes. I need to be completely honest, and I have not had a chance to review the minutes. So if there are enough other humans here who did, then we can vote on them. Otherwise, sorry, guys.
I reviewed them, and I think I have notes that can tell me which ones I think are, almost all of them seem ready to go, in my opinion, but they're just a couple that need something.
I've read through them.
I don't want to tell a lie. I have not.
Scott?
Off with their heads. Off with their heads.
I have not read the
minutes. Okay.
Can we go over, if everybody has a few minutes, can we go over the older ones of 4/29/25 and 6/23/26, just so we can stay in compliance?
Sure.
Sure.
Yes.
The
Christina, we will be
4/29/25 is not completed. I think there was
Okay.
something in it that is still missing. The 6/23/26 looks fine to me.
Okay, can we pull up 4/29/25 and see if we can figure out what's going on with it, or is and then
Yeah, give
we
me
can move on to 6/23. And maybe we can even get to 7. Oh, sugar, there's 10/22/24 too. We should.
There's a whole bunch of 2024 minutes. But I can.
Oh, I just wrote those all as 4/26. Sorry.
If you trust me, I would say that all of the 2024 stuff is good.
Let's just pull them up quickly, read them real quick, and then we can vote if everyone's okay with that. Just.
Yeah, so this is the April 29th. That's the question. You know, it says we called for votes, but it doesn't say that there was a vote.
Okay.
I would assume there was a vote, given the way these minutes are written, but
Yeah,
I
these are
would,
AI, so there's definitely a vote.
Okay.
I
So,
can go back to the recording and get the vote.
yeah. I just
be-
don't think we can vote on it until we know.
okay. Can you start, I guess, at 7/9, 2024?
So July 9th is all no quorum. So there's actually no minutes at all.
Well,
There's no
there are
discussion.
minutes, but the
I mean,
minutes just all
yeah,
say no votes were
yeah,
taken because there
that's
was
what I
no
meant.
quorum.
Yeah.
Correct.
So just open it on up so we can look at it. I'll put eyes on it and then say we saw it.
Keep going.
We're still on the April 29th.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. No, I mean, like, we're ready to look at the 7/9, but we're still looking at the April 29th.
So you
So-
want me to pull up April 29th again?
Nope, I want you to pull up July 9th. Sorry,
Okay.
July 9th, 2024.
Yep, that's up right now.
it's not up. Unless somebody else is seeing it. Are you guys seeing?
No, I'm saying April 29th.
Oh, that's weird. Hmm. Let me get on out and then go back in a second. How about now?
Yes.
Yes. That looks good to me. Do we want to vote on these individually, or do we want to review them quickly and then vote on them as a package?
Let's review them quickly and then vote on them as a package.
Okay, so can we bring up July 23rd, 2024?
Well, but this is only one of the of 5 things for July 9th.
Gotcha. Sorry. Brianna, are you opening up the next one?
Yeah, I have up the meeting minutes. Can you see it at all?
No,
No.
we're still seeing
Okay,
the
so I
previous
have to,
paragraph.
I have to keep
Yeah, going back in and
going.
out.
Yeah. How about now? How about now?
Yes.
Okay. Is everyone good on that one?
Yep.
Isn't technology grand?
Mhm.
I don't understand why it's acting like this.
It's having a moment.
It's been having a moment all day everywhere, it seems.
I mean, it's almost like we could blame Comcast.
Which I do daily.
Yes, that looks great to me. So, ready for the next. Unless somebody else yells and says we're not ready.
Yeah.
then we'll-
No, I think these all are going to be okay.
Great.
One more. Ah.
Great.
So I'm going to move that we approve as a package the 5 sets of minutes for July 9th, 2024.
Can I abstain, or do you need my vote on this?
You can abstain. Do we have a second though?
Sure. Second.
Roll call vote for Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
and Scott.
Yes.
Okay, and then we can do the same thing with the 7:23:24 minutes.
Gotcha.
And again, I mean, these have more information in them, but I looked at them and they look fine to me.
Oh, I love hearing these. Can you guys see this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That looks good to me. That looks good to me. Everyone else?
Oh, sorry.
No,
I need
that's
to
fine.
pull it. Okay.
I'm just not trying to rush everybody, but
Can you see it?
Yes.
All right.
It's nice that you can display both pages at the same time.
Uh-oh. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Hold on 1 second. I don't know what happened here.
that's not,
No, but that's still something we have to look at.
that was the next one.
That's it. That's good.
Oh, this is it? Okay. Sorry. Thought I was on the wrong one.
So just under the special permit, it says the board also reviewed the notice of decision provided by the planning staff. I think it's the draft of a notice of decision. I think that's important because it is, staff always provides us drafts.
Okay, so just put draft with them on.
Yeah, wherever it was something that, that it says it's
Gotcha.
provided by planning staff. Yeah,
Mhm.
because it's our document that.
Right.
Yeah, that otherwise that looks great to me.
So the state has
There are 2 more documents, I think.
yes, yeah.
That looks good to me. That looks good to me.
That is it for July 25th.
So I'm going to move we approve as a package the 5 sets of minutes from July 23rd, 2024.
And do we have a second?
Second.
And Paul, are you abstaining from this one?
I am going to abstain from this one as well.
Okay.
I at least want to be consistent.
Appreciate it.
Roll call vote for Lauren?
Yeah.
Kate?
Yes.
Rosanna?
Yes, ma'am.
And Scott?
Yes.
And then the 10/22/24. And afterwards, I think if we do 6/23/26 tonight, we're good, and then we could do the other ones at the next meeting, just trying to keep us in compliance.
Gotcha.
So the question I had, wait, I'm trying to get back to the agenda. On the agenda, it only says that we have meeting notes for 10/24, but I thought there were 2 other things in that folder. So one question I have is, are we allowed to consider and approve minutes that aren't listed on the agenda? Like, is it necessary for them to be specifically cited on the agenda for us to take them up? Or can we approve minutes regardless of whether they are specifically noted on the agenda, which I would hope is the case?
They have to be on the agenda.
Okay, that date's on the agenda, but not, because in the file there's also best notes and one other.
Oh, yeah. So I put that there for me.
Oh,
Those
okay.
have already been approved and everything. So
Okay,
this was the
terrific.
last of 10/22 that needed to be approved.
One of them says one of them says in the cannabis one says
yeah.
has a notation that it still needs to be.
Yeah, so hold on, let me just go.
If we've already approved the best ones, terrific, but the cannabis ones, then we need to put on a future agenda.
Yeah, these got it. The cannabis ones I have to look at again.
Okay, but the best ones are already done.
Best are done. The cannabis ones I can have on the next agenda.
Okay, thanks.
And then it's just the planning ones that I have today on this
Okay.
agenda.
I think, was this done with AI?
Honestly, I don't remember. They were done so long ago, I couldn't.
Yeah, I'm just a little concerned about the comprehensive plan update.
Okay. It might have been.
Yeah, it feels
Yeah,
a
it
little,
sounds like it does. Yeah.
yeah, I think I would go back and listen to that one section and see if it needs a little
Okay.
It feels, it has that, like, I don't know how, it's not sarcastic because it's AI, but it feels flippant sometimes, its language, which is,
Yeah, like it says, I'd like to, yeah,
yeah,
I see
yeah.
what I see what you were saying, yeah.
yeah. So if we could look at that, that would be great.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you very much. Okay, so then moving on to the 6/23/26 planning meeting. Thank you guys for powering through these. Appreciate it very much.
I do have to say we're almost done completely,
Yeah,
like with the
exciting.
older ones. So I'm
Nice.
very excited about that.
You know what? When I was reading these earlier today, I noticed that it has Paul's last name incorrect, and I went through and tried to change it, and I thought I successfully changed it, but it's not showing up.
So I changed it on almost everyone. I must have forgot this one. But every other one, Paul, your last name is changed.
But
So
it's
it's
weird
Sure,
to me that
sure.
I thought I did change it, edit it, and it's not.
So it's probably on the Google Drive. This is the network drive.
Oh, okay.
So in all the votes, it's incorrect too.
Yep.
That looks so much better.
Your alter ego.
Yep. But now I have a good alternate name to use, so I can hide.
Make all those burner Facebook accounts with it.
Yep.
I also will put member too. It seems as though I forgot to put like member next to you.
Oh,
I
yeah.
will put that in also.
Okay.
Yeah, you must have something against me, clearly.
Obviously.
I got Scott's name wrong too, so
So does
So
that
it's not
mean,
just me, it's just the men.
I guess so.
Brianna, if I make small changes, like I would never make a substantive change without telling somebody, but I sometimes correct spelling or like here I changed Paul's name. If I make those changes in the drive that's sent to me, does that doesn't actually show up in the version you use?
So what, I'll get an email that you made changes in the Google Drive, and then I'll
Yep.
go into the Google Drive and
Okay, so it will ultimately show up.
correct. Yeah.
Okay, this just was maybe too close to the time of the meeting for it to show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, got it. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay. So does this one look good to everybody? Like with those changes being made?
It does to
Yes.
me.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve this one?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote for Lauren. Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Paul,
Yes.
and Scott.
Yes.
And then we'll do 7/28/26 next time.
Perfect.
I think that's it, guys. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Oh,
Roll call vote for Lauren.
yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Paul,
Yes.
and Scott.
Yes.
Before anyone runs, you're all good to be in person on the 8th, correct?
I, at this point, don't have a reason why not. Yes.
Okay.
On what day?
Next meeting's in person at Holyoke Media.
Am I good to stop the recording?
Hello?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
should have Zoom access. I